Welcome back to the Hangar Bar, everybody. We are super excited to have you with us again today. We have with us a special guest, and we're just going to have a great conversation today. And instead of our normal cold open where I go around and Candace and I each answer a question, Randy, I'm going to ask you a question and let you answer this question first. We'll introduce you more formally after the break. But the question that I want to ask for you for our opening is, I know that you worked at the Grand Floridian for quite a few years. Be honest with us now. How long before the magic became just a job for you?
Never. It till my last day. It would. I have chills right now. I mean, it. People would ask me that all the time. Do you lose the magic when you work there? Absolutely not. It enhanced the magic, and part of being the greeter at the Grand Floridian. I mean, come on, that was the most fun I've ever had at a job. I mean, it was just making magic. What can I do for this guest, and how can I do something for them? And I have so many amazing stories if you want to get into those once we get going. But
Yeah.
no, the magic was there. The magic is still there. I mean, you can't see this behind me, but I have a bulletin board filled with gifts and little things that guests had given me, had
Oh,
written to me, cards, letters. I have one, there's a woman I didn't know, she worked at NASA, and I was interacting with her and her daughter. And it turns out she worked at the headquarters in Alabama for the International Space Station. So she gave me stickers from each of the missions of the International Space Station. And I have those right here on my wall.
oh, that's
Wow.
amazing.
So magic always.
That's amazing. That's one of the things that I've always talked about is one of my dream retirement gigs is to move to Florida and drive one of the friendship boats. Just hop on a boat, chat with people, and drive around the lagoons all day. But I worry about how quickly guests become that, I don't know that I want to go deal with this because I know I deal with that at work today.
Yeah, no, it's totally different when you're in the magic. And I suggest the greeter positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll dig into that right after the break. So,
Okay.
fans of the show, sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage and a snack, and enjoy this conversation. Hey, welcome to Hangin' at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candace. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us. Okay, Candace,
Yes,
how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Are you as excited about today's episode as I am?
So excited.
Yeah,
I got goosebumps just from the cold open.
Yeah, and we've long talked about working at Disney and kind of the guests that we have on, getting to meet such interesting people, and this today is no different from that. We are so excited to get to know Randy Haveson much better today. So, Randy, why don't we start by having you just kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, your Disney story, and why you wanted to be on our show today.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a loaded question. Here we go.
So let's jump in.
Buckle
Yeah.
up, everybody.
I have had such an amazing life with experiences that I am so grateful for. It started when I got out of college, and everything that's happened to me has been one has led to another, led to another. Part of my story is I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. I'm going to be celebrating 42 years of sobriety next month.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
And when I got sober, my therapist said after about 6 months being sober, Randy, you need to learn how to have fun sober. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just need to get clean and I'll be fine. No, recovery is about enjoying your life and having fun. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm in San Diego. He said, go to SeaWorld. I'm like, fine, I'll go to SeaWorld. And I went and I watched the dolphin show and I laughed at the seal and otter show. And I saw Shamu. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And I turned my one-day pass into an annual pass. And anytime life got stressful, I was ready to explode, I would go to SeaWorld. And that was my escape place. And probably 4 months after that, a friend of mine from the program said, have you been to Disneyland since you've been sober? was like, no, I haven't been there. Last time I was there was for my 19th birthday and I was on acid. So no, I haven't been there in a long time. So he said, let's go. And we went to Disneyland. And I remember we walked in, and still to this day, we walked, when you go to Disneyland, I walked to the right and then through, and I walked around the plaza and I saw the castle on Main Street, and something inside of me went, oh my God, this is it. It was like that little boy inside that had been wounded for so long. Little 7-year-old Randy was like, oh, yeah. And ever since then, it's been one of my number one passions. And I would go to Disneyland when I could. And then my career took me to Northern California and then out to Virginia. And then it took me to Southern Georgia. I started working as a university administrator.
Okay.
And I was working in student affairs, in health education, drug and alcohol education, those kind of things. And a college in South Georgia got a grant from the Department of Education, a $250,000 grant to put together a comprehensive health education program on campus. And they hired me to come and implement that program. And I thought, wow, they used to kick me out of colleges. Now I'm going to go do this. Wow. So one of the things that I talk about all the time is that anything is possible if you just stay out of your own way. And here I was in South Georgia, and someone said, have you ever been to Disney World? No. Oh, I heard they have 4 parks down there. And I went down to Disney World and I walked on Main Street and I saw that castle. Oh, that was it.
This is what it's all about.
Yeah. And then Epcot and the cast members and just the magic was everywhere. And I was just, that was my new addiction. And I quickly bought into DVC so that I could go more often. And then ended up in Atlanta. I quit the job in Georgia, ended up moving at South Georgia, moved to Atlanta, became a professional speaker, realizing that I could reach more people being a speaker than I could working on one campus. So that's what I did. I was a professional speaker for a number of years. I still do that. And life took me back and forth a few places. And my wife and my daughter, who was getting a little older, we spent a lot of time in Orlando. I said, let's just move there. So we did, found this amazing neighborhood and started doing our thing down in Florida. My daughter was doing field trips to Epcot. To Animal Kingdom? I mean, come on.
Right. I am now officially mad at my parents for not living in South Florida. That's crazy.
Crazy. She was the president of her art club in her freshman year. So they did a field trip for the art club and went to the Festival of the Arts at Epcot.
Of course they did.
Yeah. And the teacher said, do you want to be one of our chaperones? It's like, yeah. And the cool part was, because I was a cast member, I could take 3 people in for free. So I took my daughter and I told the teacher, if there are 2 kids in the club who can't afford to go to Disney but want to go, I can use my passes to get them in. So I did. And the kids came out, thank you so much, Mr. Haveson. It's like, it is my pleasure to get you in. You have no idea. This fills me more than it fills you.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it's like, maybe I'll go work here. What would I want to do? And before the pandemic, I always wanted to drive the DVC van, because I was, as a DVC member, I was taken in that little van and picked up at the Animal Kingdom and taken over to the center, the DVC sales center. And I thought that would be a fun job. You get to sit down all day. You get to be in air conditioning. So my first job was a driver for DVC.
Okay.
Yeah, which was great. And I had such great stories there. I remember I had this one family and I was talking to the kid and I said, so what do you want to do when you get older? He said, I want to get a master's degree. And I said, ooh, good for you. I said, I have a master's degree. And he went, huh? You have a master's degree in van driving? I will never forget that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then pandemic ended the van system. When we came back, I thought, you know what? What do I want to do now? And I thought, I've always wanted to pilot the monorail. So I joined the monorail team. And you don't get to do the monorail till like 3 or 4 months into it. You have to learn like how to work the platform and all the ins and outs of that. And I passed my proficiency exam on the platform, and they said, great, now you get to do your victory lap. I'm like, what's that? You get to drive the monorail on the Epcot line. 7-year-old Randy almost peed his pants. It was like, oh my God.
I
Okay.
almost did just hearing you say that. That's
Oh,
amazing.
yep. And I keep these right here, my pilot wings.
Oh, I love that.
They're on my desk right in front of me. Yeah. And but the thing, I was having shoulder issues, and the ramp for the wheelchairs and I couldn't do that anymore. So my boss from Monorail said, I don't think you can do this anymore. Talk to casting. Let's get you something else. And I talked to casting. I said, what has the most guest interaction? And they said, well, that would be the greeter position at the deluxe resorts. I said, oh, I want to do that. And she said, oh, those are really hard to come by. I'm like, okay, well, if one comes available, let me know. She called me the next day, said, I can't believe this does not happen, but one just opened up at the Grand Floridian. I stayed at the Grand Floridian when I got married. I did the Disney fairy tale wedding, and our reception
Okay.
was at the Grand Convention Center. And to be able to be the greeter at the Grand, I mean, I've done a TED Talk. I have been on news stations, CNN, Fox News, Ricky Lake Show, all these different things. I've had awards, I've had all kinds of things. The number one joy of my life was getting the job as the greeter at the Grand Floridian.
That's amazing.
And it was just all magic all the time. It was just so much fun. Every day I never knew what was going to happen. I went from, one day had a mom, dad, and a little boy like 10 years old walking up with their suitcases, and they looked exhausted. And I said, welcome to the Grand. You made it. You're here. I said, is this your first time here? They said, yeah, we've never stayed here before. So I said to the little boy, you are going to have so much fun. Do you know we have two pools and a water slide? You're going to have such a great time. And look, the monorail's right there. And he's smiling. I said, you're going to have such a great time. Let me show you where the front desk is. And I took him to the front desk. Next day, mom came out and said, I just want you to know I gave you a cast compliment. I'm like, oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. No, you don't understand. Our son is autistic. And yesterday, when you were interacting with him, that was the first time he smiled all day.
Aw.
I mean, come on. Whoa. So I've had experiences like that, and then I had experiences where I pissed off George Lucas. So
Okay. Wait, is like let's just delve into that now. Like so and the reason why I want to just not skip over that is this is, I believe, going to release the week after or the following week after that of our May the 4th episode, which is all about Star Wars. So let's hear about George Lucas and how he got pissed off. That's
okay, all right. I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm going to get a call from Josh going, what did you do?
If you get a call from Josh, could you give him our number too, please?
Okay, yeah. I'll definitely hook you up because this is where it happened.
Appreciate it.
So one day I go to work, minding my own business, and everyone's like really excited. I'm like, what's going on? They said, George Lucas is here. He just checked in last night. I'm like, wow, cool. Okay. And everyone's talking about him. I go outside because that's where I do my thing. And two VIP tour guides walked into the hotel. And someone said, yeah, they're going to go get George. He's coming out. And he was there with a few people. I didn't know this. He was there. It was his daughter's birthday. So he took his daughter and some of her friends. So I thought, oh, I want to make George Lucas laugh. How cool would that be if I made him laugh? Oh, okay. What am I going to say? I thought, oh, okay, I got it. So him and the VIP tour guide, everyone comes out. And as they get close to me, I say, good morning. Live long and prosper. Oops, sorry, wrong storyline. Right? It's funny. And everyone in his party laughed. George did not laugh. And I thought, did he not hear me? Maybe he's focused on getting to the van or, oh, okay, whatever. So they left and went and had their day. They come back. And when they all came back, I'm like, good afternoon. I hope you had a great time. And they went up. The tour guides came out. And they said, hey, just want you to know you really made him mad. I'm like, what?
Oh no.
Why did that? Yeah, he has this thing about Star Trek, Star Wars, and he really doesn't like any kind of comparison to that. He really didn't like it. And I said, I
Yeah.
am so sorry. Will you please let him know there is no way I would do anything to intentionally make him, he's like an icon. I love his work. I would never do anything to intentionally make him mad. Well, if we get an opportunity, we'll tell him. Okay, so the next morning, good morning. No, that was all. That was it. And they left later that day. And after they left, one of the leaders came out and said, hey, Ryan wants to talk to you, who's like the proprietor of the front desk. I'm like, okay, let's see what this is about. And I go back there. He said, Randy, we have a problem. I'm like, what? Yeah, you really upset a VIP guest. I'm like, oh, was it the live long and prosper thing? He said, yeah, he really didn't like that. I said, I wanted to make him laugh. Yeah, that didn't work. He said, keep in mind when people come here, they just want to be guests. They don't want to stand out as anybody else. And I went, wow, you know what? I never thought about it that way before. You're absolutely right. And just know that'll never happen again. He said, well, because of who he was, we need to put a point on your record. I'm like, what does that mean? And he said, well, if you get 5 in a year, you're terminated. I'm like, okay, I have 500 cast compliments and 1 point. I'll take the point.
Right. Lesson learned.
So I do not get to say I made George Lucas laugh. What I get to say instead, I pissed off George Lucas. Which one would you rather have?
I'd rather make him laugh, but the pissing him off is a great story.
Yeah. Oops, didn't know. His daughter thought it was hysterical.
Right. And probably part of what upset him was his whole group was all day long. Like, remember when that guy did that? Remember when that guy did that?
And that was the one that stuck in his head. Live long
Right.
and prosper. Yeah. He probably heard it like that. Live long and prosper. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
Always a new adventure, always something going on. It was just all magic all the time.
Yeah.
It was great. And there were some stars, I didn't even know who they were. And people asked, oh my God, do you know who that person was? It was like, no. It was another guest. Yeah.
And I love what you said, and it doesn't surprise me that it comes from Disney, that whole, they just want to come here and be guests. Yeah. Famous people are people too. They want to escape into the magic. They want to just be in the moment just like anybody else. And
exactly.
They get pulled out of just being themselves so often that they don't find a lot of opportunity to just go be a kid.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was what it was about. So after that, when I saw Scarlett and Colin and their kids, I mean, it was like, good morning. Oh my God, your kids are adorable. They're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But so just like any other guest.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. So
and then you go into a backstage area and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
It was Black Widow. Oh my God. Yeah. I talked to an Avenger.
Right. Yeah. So you live in San Diego now. Mm-hmm. So how long did you consider like being a cast member at Disneyland as well? Or what made you decide to leave the magic?
Well, daughter was going to college. And while I love Disney, I'm more of a California guy than a Florida guy.
Okay.
And the heat in the summer is pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like it was time for a change. And I went to college here in San Diego, and this was really home. And my daughter got into UC San Diego, and she loved to say, you know, Dad, I'm going to UC San Diego. You only went to San Diego State, and my college is here. Yours is here. Like, well, whatever. And I knew at that time that me and her mother were going to part ways. I was hanging in there until she went to college. And I woke up one day and I thought, I can do anything I want. What do I want to do? And I thought, I want to move back to San Diego. And I'm closer to my family. My family's up in LA. Parents are getting a little older. So I'm able to help them out and go up there every now and then. And my job allows me to kind of do my own thing whenever I want to. Took my girlfriend to Disneyland since first time since she was 20 years old. So we had a blast. And now she's like, we need to go to Disney World. I'm like, oh, yes, we do. Uh-huh. So the thing is, Disneyland's like an hour and a half away.
Okay.
So that's a difficult commute and in California traffic.
Right.
So I've considered moving to Anaheim, and if the right position came available, I might. Nah, right now I just want to be a guest.
Yeah, I get it. That there's something magical about just going and being a guest too, and
Yeah,
not having to worry about having the magic ruined or anything like that.
it
And
won't. And for you guys, if you ever did decide to go down there and get the jobs there, the magic will be just as unbelievable as it is now. It doesn't diminish. When you have that in your heart, it doesn't go anywhere at
yeah,
all.
yeah, and
So
I love that you called out the greeter position too, because every time I talk to somebody new that has been a cast member, it always like my dream retirement job was driving the friendship boats around. I didn't know that I could put driving the monorail on my dream retirement job list, and I didn't even think about just being a greeter at the deluxe resorts and just welcoming people in and just having those conversations and getting the magic started the right way for them every single day. It's
yeah, it's amazing. I'll tell you another one that a lot of people absolutely love, and it's less pressure than the friendship boats. Because I thought about friendship, but you have to get it right at the dock.
right.
That's pressure, man. With monorail, it's start and stop. I like that. Yeah, but the boats, woof, custodial. People love the custodial jobs. You're just walking around, picking up popcorn, communicating with guests. Where's the nearest restroom? Where do I go to get something to eat? Oh, happy birthday. And I mean, it's people find that to be a very magical position.
Yeah, I
Every
wouldn't
now
have
and then you
even
have to deal with the code V,
right.
but other
There
than
it
that,
is.
yeah. But yeah, custodial is a really fun job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So
Um,
maybe one day.
yeah, yeah, definitely one day. So, talk to us a little bit, Randy, about what you're doing now since you left Disney. Like, you decided it's time to try something different. What are you doing now?
I came here to San Diego and I thought my message that I love promoting is self-worth. I watch so many people judge who they are by what they have. And it's so sad to me to watch people do that. But every time we turn on the TV or look at social media, we're fed all these messages about how the outside impacts the inside.
Uh-huh.
Happiness is outside in. Look a certain way, live in a certain zip code, drive a certain car. And happiness doesn't happen that way. Happiness is from the inside out. So I learned by being a total narcissistic egomaniac back in my addiction days. When I got into recovery, I started to realize after I cleaned my side of the street that I have worth just because of who I am. And when I feel that, I can then transmit it to others. And I came up with this program on how to raise self esteem. And it talked about the difference between ego and self esteem, how our society tells us they're the same thing, but they're actually opposites. When we reinforce our ego, we deny our self esteem. When we build our self esteem, it has nothing to do with ego whatsoever. So I wrote a book called Becoming Your Own BFF that talks about how to go on that journey to a higher sense of self esteem. And I'm actually thinking about doing another iteration of the book because it's meant for the person just starting their self awareness journey. But I want to do one for people who've dabbled in it but haven't found like what really clicks yet. So I'm writing the same content in a different tone, and the book's going to be called Stop Treating Yourself Like Shit.
I love it.
Because that's what most people do. We have that bully voice and we have the best friend voice.
Yeah,
But until you recognize and are aware of both of them, the bully tends to be the megaphone and the overwhelming. But no, there's this other voice speaking there in a whisper. Let's let that one get louder. Like when I go to Disney, the bully doesn't even get in the gate.
Right.
The best friend is like, let's go have fun.
Yeah.
And whether it's standing in an hour-long line for Flight of Passage, or getting on the People Mover, or just talking to the cast members in Italy, which I love doing.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your experience being here? I love talking to cast members and the college program kids. When I was at the Grand, I loved working with the college program kids.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
it's the bully voice stays out.
Yeah.
And so my work now, I'm in the process of writing a book. I'm writing 3 books right now. One of them is called Worth at Work. So while most training in hospitality and most customer service is based on here's the script, here's what you do, here's how to handle this situation, here's how to, and go. But it allows for no autonomy. It allows for no one to say, wow, that was an amazing experience. What I wanted to do at the Grand was create magic for my guests.
Mm.
And I'd have people come. I was part-time. I worked 2 days a week at the Grand. And people would come back 6 months later. Hey, we wanted to stay here again just so we could hang out with you. Oh, just the gratitude of having that experience. So I wanted to translate that into teaching others how not just to do customer service, but how to create magical experiences for your guests and for your customers. So that's what the Worth at Work book is all about. So it's geared to hospitality, but it's for anyone who's working in customer service. And we give them a bunch of tools on how to make that magic.
We should talk.
Huh?
Yeah.
We should talk.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, let's get this message out there. And part of what I said, one day it came to me, and it's about creating that magic for people on both sides of the front desk. So if the team is all about creating magic within the team and more concerned about we over me, it's not about what can I get out of this, what can we do to make this a better department, then the guests just feel it.
Yeah.
They see it and they want to be a part of that. So that's the book that I'm writing. My girlfriend and I are writing a book. She's a therapist and I have a background in counseling. And with my book and her work, it's funny, we were talking about AI before. She did a 60-page workbook on perfectionism for her clients. And I read it and I was like, this is brilliant. And a lot of it comes back to self-esteem. So I took her project and I put my book into an AI program and said, what would it look like if these were combined? And it came back a couple minutes later and said, this is brilliant. No one's ever done this before. You need to write a book on generational perfectionism. Oh, that all those messages that we're raised with, not good enough, and we feel like we're not, and we get that from our parents, but they got it from their parents.
Yeah.
Who got it from their parents. So if we look at it from that perspective, we're not angry at our parents anymore. Now we have compassion for them because they said, I want to do better than my parents did. I didn't beat my kids anymore, but I sure did get on them for any little thing. And in their mind, they did better. So it's all about recognizing the patterns, understanding where they came from, and then reclaiming who it is that we want to be and releasing all of that crap from the past and rebuilding who it is that we want to be. So we're in the process of putting that one out there too. So I'm really excited about that.
That's very cool. And in the show notes, we will link. I've looked around your the work website a little bit. I'll make sure that I get it. I get the right website. We'll put it in the show notes and on our socials too, just so folks can find it. Because Candace and I both come from a customer service background. We both have a passion for service. Candace actually did the Disney Institute a few years ago and their quality service program, and probably is more dedicated to fantastic customer service than I am.
Oh, I can so see it in you. It is so much a part of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you. Nice. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want that, that good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have value just because you exist. And
Yeah.
okay, you want to hear my big dream? This is my big dream. I want to do a weekend retreat called Esteem Fest, where it's 2 days of workshops and lectures and small group discussions and parties. I want to do it in Orlando. I'd love to do it at the Coronado Springs. They have that
Mhm.
huge convention center. And I want to have a party on Friday night and have Mickey and Peter Pan and people come and get pictures and all that. And then to top off the conference on Sunday, we all do an inner child play date at the Magic Kingdom together.
Oh,
Uh huh.
yeah.
So Saturday is all about inner child work. Friday is all about self-esteem, and then we go play. We practice what we've learned over the past couple days. So the big dream is to get to the point where I can do a Steam Fest and do an inner child play date at the Magic Kingdom. I think about it and I just, I get teary. I'm excited that it will happen one day.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I
yeah.
love that.
So I've dedicated my life to helping others. My life is a gift. It's a miracle that I'm alive. So today my life is about being of service to others.
That's awesome. So, getting us back into Disney just a little bit, Randy,
Yeah.
what are some things that maybe you learned while you were working for Disney that has applied to what you're trying to do now?
Nothing is perfect. Perfection does not exist. We do the
Interesting.
best
Like,
we can to get, we do the best we can to do the best we can. But perfection is always just beyond us. And when that stops being the goal, that's where the magic happens. If perfection is the goal, there's no magic because
that's
perfection is not there.
that is such a valid point, and I think as fans, we often think of Disney as this perfect thing that's out there. And I Candace and I have talked about this on the podcast a lot, where people go in expecting perfect trips and they don't plan for anything to go wrong. And
Yeah.
you you miss out on so much if you have everything planned down to the exact moment of a perfect trip. You miss out on so much of the magic. And so
Yes.
hearing you say that you learned that from being a cast member at Disney is
Mhm.
just amazing, because I sometimes you think Disney's out there trying to perfect magic.
No, but they're
No.
striving for excellence.
Yes. Yes, which is attainable.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love, what Walt said, that it's always evolving. It's always changing. And I love that because that's us too. We're not static creatures that stay this. If when you do that, you've met people like that. I've met people. It's like they're stuck and they wonder why. It's like, no, you've chosen that. So now you can unchoose it and do something different. Let me take you to Disney for a day and show you how that works.
Mhm.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh, so it's always evolving. We're always evolving and growing and changing and allowing that to happen rather than being afraid of it. That's where the magic happens. And yeah, expect the unexpected. Life throws stuff at you. And if you're not flexible with it, the oak tree breaks in the wind, the reed bends.
Mhm.
So all those little philosophical things, they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that Disney is really, really good at, and we've touched on this before during the podcast, but they are really good at letting their guests see what the guests think are perfection,
Mm-hmm.
but all of the mess happens
Yeah.
backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And all of
Well.
it's prepared for, and all of it is, if this happens we do this, and if this
Mhm.
happens we do this, and it's mind-boggling
Yeah.
how
And
good they
we're
are at it.
and we're allowed to improvise in situations where a
Mhm.
guest, something happens. But we're taught the. Are you familiar with the five keys?
I am.
Yeah. So show is one of those keys.
Mhm.
When you go from backstage into any stage area, there's a sign, usually a mirror, and a sign that says show.
Hmm.
So you know that, oh yeah, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. That doesn't matter right now. I'm going out on stage.
Right.
So you put everything else behind. And that's just the Disney way, knowing how to compartmentalize. The bills will still be there when you get off your shift.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's magical. And one of the other things that I learned there is, I think I knew this, but it really solidified it, the importance of play.
Hmm.
I watch so many people who get to retirement and they don't know what to do with themselves because everything was about work, and now it's not there and there's nothing to fill that. So I believe it's important, as you're getting close, find the hobbies and the things that
Hmm.
you enjoy. It might all not be Disney, but Disney can be a part of it 1 to 3 times a year.
Right.
But find things for your own personal little Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the things that really make you happy and turn you on? So yeah, play is vital.
Yeah, and I think Disney is one of those few places, and that's I'm curious for your take on this too, is how do you see play show up? Like, especially as a greeter in some place like the Grand Floridian, Disney is really good about letting people live into those moments of play. How did you see that come to fruition, whether it be as working on the monorail or working as a greeter there in the Grand? How did that show up for people, and maybe even for yourself?
I love the different t-shirts that people had, and they'd wear the silly hats. I remember this one guy walked up to the Grand one time wearing this shirt, like colorful with Disney stuff all over it. And I was like, okay, I got to tell you, that is the coolest shirt I have ever seen in my life. You have the magic. He was like, oh, thank you. And he walked in, and I had no idea who he was. The next day, I came to work. Here, I'm going to take this down and show you. Excuse me 1 minute. Are you familiar with Eric Robeson, the artist at Disney?
Yeah.
He went to Narcoozy for dinner, and he made this for me. He
That is
wrote it on
amazing.
the Narcoozy menu. And
Oh
when
my
I
god.
came in, I was like, what's that? Oh, yeah, yeah. Some guest came by to give this to you. I'm like, Eric, who is that? And I looked it up. It's like, oh my God. Wow, I have an original. He wrote my name on there and everything. So, again, when you create that magic for others, it just comes back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so cool.
And every guest has a story. That was one of my philosophies when I was there, is that everyone has a story. And finding out what that is. I have a letter up here from Alice. She came in an ECV, and I think she had an oxygen tank too. And I saw her come in. I said, hey, you know what the speed limit is here, right? Let's keep things under control. And she laughs. I said, have you stayed here before? She said, no, I've always wanted to. This is a big deal trip for me. I'm like, how come? She said, well, it's my birthday. I'm like, oh, hold on. And I went and got the birthday button and wrote her name on it. I said, can I sing you my birthday song? She said, sure. I said, all right, here we go. I'm going to sing your birthday song. It really isn't very long. And people would say, that's it? I'm like, I told you it's not very long. So, yeah. And she said, and also, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I feel like I need to tell you this. I just finished my last round of chemo.
Oh,
And this is the second time I've battled cancer, and I beat it this time too. And I wanted to come here and just celebrate by staying at the Grand Floridian. I said, Alice, one of my duties here at the Grand is I get to pick the Grand Floridian family of the day. And today, you are my Grand Floridian family of the day. Can you wait here 1 minute? I have some things I want to give you. And I went backstage and I got all the cast members that were in the back, and I got a bunch of balloons, and we came out, and there's a frame of the Grand Floridian that we take a picture of the family of the day and a button and the whole thing. And I brought it out there to her, and all these cast members are coming out. Alice, happy birthday. We're so glad you're here. And she's crying and I'm crying, and you never know what the story is with the
Yeah.
guest.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just, with people that we meet at the grocery store, there was a guy at the dog park today who just, and someone said, God, he's always so grumpy. I said, but we don't know what he's dealing with. We
Yep.
don't know why, what's going on. So whenever we have an opportunity to just bring some magic to someone, especially us and probably your listeners too, who, they listen to this because it pulls on something in them, that part of them, what if more of the world lived this way all the time? How awesome would that be?
Yeah.
So that's the goal. I'm sure that's your goal too, to spread this magic just a little bit more
Yep.
so that it catches on to one more person and one more person until we hit the 100th monkey phenomenon. Do you know about the 100th monkey phenomenon?
I don't.
I do not.
Oh, over in, I forgot where, what, New Guinea, let's say, the monkeys were getting really sick because they would pick the coconuts and they would just break it open and eat the coconut. But there was a lot of dirt and a lot of filth on the coconuts, and a lot of monkeys were getting sick and dying. So what the researchers did, they wanted to teach the monkeys how to wash the coconuts in the river before they ate them. So finally, after months and months, and the monkeys couldn't get the hang of it and couldn't get the hang of it. And one day, one monkey went and washed off the coconut and broke it open and ate it. And the researchers was like, yeah. And all of a sudden, all the monkeys in that circle were able to wash the coconuts before they ate them. And all of a sudden, on the other side of the island, monkeys were washing their coconuts before they ate them. That the consciousness of the monkeys had shifted, where all of a sudden all the monkeys knew how to do that. We need to create that in our society about play and laughter and magic and all those things. It's not about, I would watch all these young girls do, walk around Disney like this and then selfie face and then put it down and go back to, it needs to be genuine and authentic. And that's what Disney and play and all of that is about. It's about finding your worth, finding that Peter Pan, finding that Tinkerbell, and letting it just blossom. I love the Disney movies. They all have that message. My girlfriend had never seen Inside Out. I'm like, you're a therapist? You haven't seen Inside Out? Come on, and we're crying together. And I said, there's a second one. Oh, let's watch that one. So yeah, so it's spreading that magic, and that's what this is all about. That's why you do this, and it's an honor for me to be here to reinforce this message for you and for your listeners, because that's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we last year or a couple years ago, we had Theron Ski's former Disney Imagineer on the show, and one of the things that he talked about was there's different levels of Disney fandom, and so there's and I can't remember the exact words that he used, but it's basically there's the people that are just like surface level, there's the waiters, and then there's the divers. So I share that with you just because I want to have you share with us something about the Grand Floridian that only a diver would notice.
Wow. Ooh, that's a good one. Wow. What I love about the Grand, every day when I would come to work, I don't even like calling it work, and you're walking up and you see the Grand and the monorail coming by. There's just something magical about that in and of itself. At 3:00 every day when the piano player starts in the lobby, right? Yeah. The Grand is the Grand. I mean, pick another. It's just the Grand. I mean, pick another spot. But the Grand, there's just something really, really special about that place. I love going there for breakfast. I love the Eggs Benedict at the cafe. The bread, the bread at Narcoozy is the same bread at Victoria and Albert's.
Ooh.
Yeah.
File that one away, listeners. That's a good tip.
Yeah, because I remember when I went to V&A, that was my splurge before I left. I wanted to go to V&A before I left. oh my God. And what they did for me was, it was so special. And I said, this bread is amazing. It tastes like narcoosee. They said, it's the same bread. I'm like, okay. There's a little trivia for you. Yeah. But, oh, have you been there recently? I heard they opened the new bar in the lobby area.
We have not been back since they opened the new bar.
Okay. You want to hear a great story?
Always.
One day, when they were talking about renovating the Grand, I saw a bunch of suits come in and they were standing in the lobby and they're looking around and one guy's there and taking notes. And I walked up to them and I said, hi. And they were like, can we help you? I was like, yeah, you're with the reconstruction group, right? The refurbishment? Yeah. They're like, who are you, greeter man? And I said, hey, I have an idea for you. Every morning, I get so many guests that say to me, where can I get a cup of coffee? And I have to send them all the way to Gasparilla. If you had something in the lobby where you could serve coffee in the morning and then drinks in the afternoon to keep people here, I think that would be a nice touch for the Grand, but also a nice revenue source. The guy with the notepad was like writing furiously. And they're like, oh, well, thank you. Okay, yeah, we got to get back to our meeting. I'm like, all right. So left. Couple months later, the guy with the scribbles came up. He said, hey, just want to let you know, I think they're going to do it. I'm like, really? They're going to do it? He said, yeah. He said, could you tell him to call it Randy's Bar? I was like, oh, Narcoozy, Citricos, Randy's Bar.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not, but I just thought it was so cool when I heard that they were actually going to do it and it's there. That was like, cool. I have like a little tiny finger in there at the Grand Floridian.
That's amazing. And that's the other thing. Like, one of the things you think about with the Disney company is that, and Walt believed this too, good ideas can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
If you got to take the time to stop and listen, you talk to hundreds, if not thousands of people a day in that role.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if they don't listen to that, that's just dumb to not listen to that.
But that's their experience. I want to interact and they want to go. Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. Next.
Yep.
Yeah. So there were plenty of people who wanted to hear it. So, like one day I'm standing out there, two guys come out with LA Dodger hats. And I'm like, Dodger fans. Cool. I don't see many of them here. You from LA? Yeah, I'm from, we're from LA. I said, what are you doing here? He said, yeah, we're here for a publicity tour with my dad. And then he comes out, Bruce Boxleiter. And I said, oh, you're here for the new Tron ride. Were you in Tron? He said, I was Tron.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, that's cool. I love that line. So there are a lot of people who like to engage and be involved with that, but some people just want to keep on moving, but that's their experience. I need to allow people to have their experience.
Yeah. That's awesome. So if you had to pick a favorite story from your time at Disney, what would it be?
Do you want to cry?
No.
Okay. I actually have two, but we'll do this one first and see if we have time for the other one. One day a van pulls up and about 10 to 12 people get out of the van and they all have the same t-shirt on. And it looked like it was grandma, her 3 or 4 kids or spouses, and then the grandkids. And they approach me and the entrance. And I said, welcome. Wait a second. Do you all know each other or is this just a weird coincidence? And they laughed. And I said, is this your first time staying with us at the Grand? And the grandmother woman said, yeah, it's our first time here. We've always wanted to stay here. I'm like, I am so glad you're here. She said, we almost didn't come. I'm like, what? Why? Well, my husband is a huge Disney fan and we always take the family every year. And he just died 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Like, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, that's why you almost didn't come. She said, yeah, I just didn't know if I could have a trip here. I said, you know, he would have wanted you to be here. She said, I know, that's why we're here. And we used some of the life insurance money to upgrade us to the Grand Floridian because he always wanted to stay here. I said, you know, he's here with you. You're going to have all kinds of little coincidences all the time you're here, letting you know that he's with you. And she said,
Yeah.
oh, I know, I've already had one. I'm like, already? What's that? His name is Randy.
Okay.
Yeah, they paid me to do that. They didn't have to pay me to do. I would have paid them
Right.
to be there that day. Whew. Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah.
You engage, and what comes back at you tenfold.
Yeah. And again, we talk about it a lot, and you said it earlier. Everybody has a story. So
Hmm.
just be curious. And that's a
Yes.
big piece of it, is just be curious. Let that story come to you. It's
Hmm.
and amazing things will happen.
Yeah. Open yourself to whatever comes. Yeah. Do you want to hear the other one?
I do. Candace, do you
Okay.
need to plug your ears?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I'm in the lobby. It's after 3 o'clock. And what I love to do, because 4 o'clock is check in, so a lot of the families are sitting in the lobby waiting for check in time, and the kids are bored silly. So, what I would do is I would come out with crayons and coloring paper and say, who's your favorite character? Do you want to color? And I'd give them crayons and something to color with. And I'm talking to some kids. And there's a tap on my shoulder, and it's an older woman. She seemed like she was in her 80s. She said, excuse me, can I ask you for a favor? I'm like, of course, anything. What can I do for you? I've been coming to the Grand for a very long time. I love this place. And I think this is my last time being here. My hip is starting to give out. I just can't walk around like I used to. And it's always been a dream of mine to dance in the lobby of the Grand Floridian. Will you dance with me? I
Oh,
said, of course I will. And we danced around the piano. And she said, will you twirl me? Of course. And I twirled her. And we're dancing. We do a couple laps around the piano. And she said, okay, thank you. My hip's starting to hurt. I said, well, let me get you back to your chair. And she took my arm. And I didn't know this. You know, the mezzanine of the Grand Floridian, there were 40, 50 people up there watching us. And as we stopped and I had her arm, they broke into applause. And I gave her the attention and walked her back to her seat. And she said, you have no idea how much that meant to me. I said, you have no idea how much that meant to me. Thank you. So, the Grand, man, open yourself up to the magic, and the magic is everywhere. It's everywhere.
yeah.
So,
That is amazing stories. Thank you so much for sharing.
oh, my pleasure. I love
And
reliving that because I get those feelings all over again.
yeah, and if you're sitting here listening to this and you're wondering why people connect to Disney so much, stories like that are it. That
Yeah.
that level of just magic that happens in those minuscule moments are what make people grasp onto and just absolutely fall in love with Disney. And
And it doesn't happen anywhere else.
right.
No,
Honestly.
no, not like that. I
No.
mean, it happens. It can happen. Happens at Trader Joe's sometimes. I love Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. But Disney, yeah, nothing like Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? Talk to the person in line behind you.
Yep.
You know, I was on Flight of Passage. I was talking to the people behind me. They'd never been on the ride before. Oh, we have to wait 45 minutes in this line. I said, no, 45 minutes is good. And it is so worth it. I guarantee if you don't like this ride, I'll give you your money back. Yeah. And we went on, and I was sitting next to them. And afterwards, I said, well, she goes, oh my God, that was amazing. I was like, yeah. So talk to the people around
Yeah.
you. You know, wish the person a happy birthday, a happy anniversary. Oh, what are you celebrating? I mean, be involved
Yeah.
in the magic.
Yeah, and fans, we did not pay Randy to say any of that, even though we've been preaching that exact same thing for years now. So
Yeah. You know what? We speak truth.
yeah,
And we need more. Oh, do we need more truth these days?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
100%.
and we have kind of taken it upon ourselves to not only interact with other guests as often as possible,
Hmm.
but the cast members as well, because it's like our firm belief, and this is a hill we will die on every single day, that the cast members are actually the magic.
Yes.
And if you take the time to speak with them and get to know them, I mean, what, 15 years ago, Scott, we went on our Disney cruise where we met Cuba and Arasa, and we are still close friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just little things. And it was a couple of years ago, it was Harriet at Rose and Crown, and just these little instances where we're enhancing our trip
Hmm.
and maybe making somebody's day just a little bit better.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
And I got to tell you, okay, I'm going to share one of my secrets with you. When you're really nice, genuinely, not just nice to them, oh, how's your day? You having a good day? But genuinely, hey, how's it going? How are you today? How are you? You're here making magic. How are you doing? Do you know how many times I've got put in lightning lanes from just being nice to a cast member?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not always going to happen. Don't say, well, Randy
There is
told
no
me that if
promise.
I'm nice to you, you're going to let me in Rise of the Resistance line. No, no, it's probably not. But yeah, just be nice to
Yeah.
people, and yeah, be a part of the magic.
Yep,
It's a choice.
it really is.
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, you can be grumpy, and it's like, no, go home and do that. If you're going to be, you know, if you're going to be grumpy, go home. Don't
Right.
be on vacation and be grumpy, especially here.
Exactly. And for the people who are grumpy, I would always say, because I'd get cast members, oh my God, look at that person. I can't believe they're at Disney. Like, but could you imagine what they would be like if they weren't at Disney? If this is the thing for them that really helps them get to this level, think about what they're probably like when they're not here.
Ugh.
So good for them for being here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding those moments of magic. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Randy, as we get ready to wrap this one up, is there
Yeah.
anything I want to give you the opportunity to talk about any projects that you're working on or that you want our listeners to go out and find and that kind of thing as well?
Find your magic. And my hope is that my books will help with that. I am going to start doing my podcast again. Also, I've been talked into it. I'm actually going to be calling it The Worth Evolution, because I
Okay.
think we're at this point in humanity. I was at the dog park and we were all talking about, oh yeah, I'm on Adderall for my ADD. Well, I'm on Zoloft for depression. And I was thinking we can talk about that now. We didn't talk about that 20 years ago. I've been ADD my whole life. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 50. What I heard was, Randy, you're so smart. Why can't you get your work done?
Right.
So there's this evolution taking place now that we all get to be a part of. We're either a part of the solution or part of the problem. Let's be a part of the solution. So
Yeah.
my podcast and my books are going to be all about, and hopefully one day a Steam Fest and we all go to Disney together. It's all about feeling that self-worth. So right now people can do that through my books, following me on the different platforms that we're on, LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram are like the big ones for me.
Okay.
I've never been a TikToker.
Yeah.
No.
Neither.
Yeah, I draw the line at Instagram. So that's how people can find me, and let's make this contagious.
Okay. And I'll
Let's
make sure I
all
get
work
those
together.
linked in our socials and our
Cool.
show notes as well, so people can easily find you.
Hmm.
Because I everything you're talking about, I think is really valuable work, and I think
Thank you.
the
Very
connect.
important,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And the
now, I think more than ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Self-esteem. I mean, the toxic masculinity and that
Yeah.
whole going on. No, we need to be genuine and authentic and get in touch with that inside. And at first, it's hard. I mean, it's not easy to get in touch with the feelings and all the stuff and poor memories of traumas. It's difficult. But, my analogy is it's kind of like, that feeling when you have to throw up and you don't want to.
Mhm.
And when you do it, you feel like you're going to die.
Uh-huh.
But afterwards, you always feel better.
Yep.
So this work is important and it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So thank you for all of that. I have two more questions for you
Oh,
that
okay.
we're going to wrap up with.
Okay.
So when you go back to Disney now as a guest,
hmm
can you just enjoy it, or are you constantly looking for the little Disney touches that are supposed to be there?
I love the Disney touches. I love looking for those. How the trash cans change from place to place and the music. I mean, when you enter Pandora, I love that part of it.
Uh-uh.
But I'm there to just be a sponge and just soak it up and see what I can do to help others make magic too. So a little bit of both. But I love looking at the little details, such as you leave Flight of Passage, have you noticed the initials carved into the wall in the concrete on your way out?
Mhm.
Do you know
Mhm.
what those are?
I know one's Joe Rody.
Yeah. And James Cameron and
Yes.
John Landau.
Yes.
Yeah, they all carved their initials there. So most people just walk right by it. It's like, no, no, no.
Right.
Look.
Look, 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 look.
So those are the little things that I love finding out, those little trivia things. Like
Yeah.
the droid at Galaxy's Edge that's in the net above in one of the entrance areas. That's a whole story that is just blew me away when I heard that one. Do you want to hear that one too?
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
Okay, I went on the Halcyon, the Galactic Star Cruiser. It was such an amazing experience. And I learned that the story of Galaxy's Edge is that it used to be a major port for smugglers, that they would come and go, and Oga was in charge of Galaxy's Edge. And Hondo was her number one guy, and they kind of ran everything. And one day, the First Order came in and sent a probe, and Oga was like, "Oh no, 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 no." So if you notice, if you come in from the Toy Story side into Galaxy's Edge, you see a big crater that's there in the
Mhm.
as you're walking in on the right. Most people walk right by. As you keep walking, you look and there's a droid from Empire Strikes Back. Remember the droids were looking for Luke
Right.
and they sent those black droids with the legs that were going around and they would boom, they'd land in a crater and then the droid would come out and look around. That crater was made by a droid. Oga saw that happen, captured the droid, put it in a net, and stuck it up on the wall as a message to the First Order, don't mess with us here. But they came in anyway, and they set up shop in one part of Galaxy's Edge. Oga thought we need balance here, so she talked to her friends in the Resistance, and they came in and they set up shop on the other side of Galaxy's Edge. You will never see Rey and the Stormtroopers cross paths. You will never see Kylo Ren and Chewbacca meet each other because they're on opposite ends of Galaxy's Edge to bring balance back. But boy, was Oga pissed when they started coming in and messing with her traffic. So that's the story of Galaxy's Edge and the crater and the droid. So next time you're there, look for that. It's a pretty cool little detail. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
I'm gonna
what,
have
a
to
$100,000 crater that they put in there, and most people, 98% of people, just walk
just
right
walk
by
right
it.
on by.
Nah. So thank you, George, for creating that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I pissed you off. You didn't mean to.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
last question
Oh, yeah.
for you
Okay.
for this episode is if you could go back and give your cast member self one piece of advice on day one, what would it be?
Don't piss off George Lucas. No. What I would say is enjoy every moment. This is going to be one of the greatest experiences of your entire life. You're going to meet people and have experiences that you never even dreamed of. From the little 7-year-olds, the 4-year-olds, all the way up to the 85-year-olds. There's going to be magic every day. Just open up and enjoy it.
Love
That
it.
is awesome.
Yeah.
That's such great advice not only for your younger self on day one of Disney, but for everybody listening as well. And again, appreciate you being here, Randy. We
Oh,
this was a great conversation, and if you would be up for it, we'd love to have you back.
oh, in a heartbeat, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And I would, my girlfriend has never been to Disney World.
Okay.
So we're going to go probably October, November.
Okay.
Maybe we could do a little gathering if we could. You never know. We'll
You
put the
never
dates
know.
out there, and if people want to join us,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
do a little self-esteem talk for everybody. I'll do one of my live presentations for your guests.
Yeah. Let us know
So,
when you get that plan for sure, and
yeah,
we'll see what
We'll see what we
comes of
can
that.
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I would
Yeah,
love to
that's
meet you
amazing.
guys. Oh my God, how much fun would we have at Disney
Yeah.
together?
Yes.
Oh, that'll be a blast. So
Yes, for
yeah,
sure.
anytime you want to have me back, I would love to hang out with you guys again.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Randy, we end every episode the exact same way, and it is always this. Everyone remember that there is always a great big beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.